This is a secret sauce.
This is a special edition of the secret sauce for the saints. Today's scripture in Isaiah tells us to wait on the Lord, and when we wait on Him, He will renew our strength, and we will mount up on wings like eagles. We will run and not be weary, and we will walk and not faint. Well, today's secret sauce is regarding Miss Pearl Campbell-Brown. She is a phenomenal woman of God. Miss Pearl Campbell-Brown is 80 years old, and she received her bachelor's degree at 75 years old and received her master's degree at 78 years old. So I wanted to just ask her some questions that we can share with the viewing audience. So the first question I have for you is, what did waiting on the Lord look like as you pursued your bachelor's degree at 75 and your master's degree at 78?
It was very exciting because I was holding back, and God kept speaking to me, and I kept holding back. And then eventually, with a little incident that came up between my great nephew and myself, I just said, you know what, enough is enough. I just went straight on ahead to Edward Waters University, which was Edward Waters College at that time. And I just went on ahead and went straight to the admissions office, and I said, I want to sign up. And I signed up. When I signed up at first, I signed up for business. And then as I got in there for a while, I said, my first year, I said, you need psychology. So I signed up for the field of psychology, and that's why I graduated a BA in psychology.
And what did you get your master's in?
My master's, I got that in business administration. That came when that came when Edward Waters College changed over to the university, and this was the inaugural program, the Master of Business Administration, and that's where I got my degree in that.
Now, were you the oldest student in the program?
Through the whole time I was in college, I was the oldest student, even for my undergrad and my grad.
Wow, that is actually phenomenal to hear someone, in their 70s getting a degree for the first time.
Right.
So let me ask another question.
Yes.
Were there moments in your educational journey when you felt God lifting you, giving you strength and clarity?
Yes.
And talk to me about that.
Yes. It was during my sophomore year. And I had just come through my freshman year, and it was scary. It was a little scary at first.
Okay.
Because I really didn't have anybody, say, physical for me to go to say, I need a helping hand. So every time I turn around, I say, okay, God, I'm here. What am I supposed to do? And true enough, He helped me. He guided me on through. And when I finished my undergraduate degree, I had a 3.2 something like average.
Wow.
I had a GPA. And when I finished that, but with God's, each time I noticed that I asked human beings for something. It was like what the pastor was preaching today. You don't know what I need. Okay. So you don't need what I need. All right. And so that's what something like in my spirit kept going. Said, follow me, Pearl. Don't listen to nobody else. Just follow me.
Wow.
And it was kind of scary. You know how we are, human beings. God said, you follow me. And I said, okay, you talking to me? You know how we do that. And I said, okay, Lord, I will follow your directions. And boom, step by step. And then just going and going.
That is incredible. Absolutely incredible. I just remember when I was in my undergraduate program, it wasn't always easy, and I remember feeling afraid, and being in my 20s and feeling afraid. So I can only imagine how you felt being in your 70s, and, still being afraid and still being a freshman or still being a sophomore. You still probably had to go through all of those feelings that everybody else would feel as well.
Right. But the thing about what happened there was that God, since I was an older adult in the class, the workers there, the employees and stuff, we became good friends. So
Okay.
they helped me with the processing, like the finance manager. They helped me with the processing of how to file for my, for my finances and stuff like that.
Okay.
That office became my buzz. We became very good friends in there. And then the office in...
I would imagine financial aid is always, a good place to have some friends.
It was very... And the lady, when I mentioned to her, she remembered my great-nephew who had graduated in 2013. And she remembered him when I mentioned that I was the auntie. He said he always talked about you. And I said, oh, okay. Then.
Wow.
So I was, brought ahead and everything. But I got involved with the program what the program was, girl. I got involved with the program with Upward Bound. The Upward Bound program. And when I got involved in that I got to know the office personnel, and Dr. Sanford was there at the time. He was over that, and got to know them. And Mrs. Wade, and she was an instructor. Matter of fact, she was one of my instructors for my English class when I was in my sophomore year.
Okay.
She was my professors.
Wow.
So yes.
So the last question that I have for you is, how did you keep going when the work became demanding? And sometimes the pace could feel overwhelming. How did you keep going?
By faith and trusting in God. My favorite scripture is trust in the Lord with all thine heart and lean not to thy own understanding. Just trust Him. Just trust God. And I started learning how to trust Him, learning how to have faith in Him. And the next thing I knew, I was receiving my diploma. How about that? And
a couple of weeks ago, that was the scripture for the secret sauce. Proverbs. That was the scripture. Trusting in God with all your heart and lean not to your own understanding. Acknowledge Him in all your ways, and He will direct your path.
But that 7th verse of it says, "Be not wise in thy own eyes. Fear the Lord and depart from evil." Okay. He said, "Trust me." He said, "Don't trust in what you're thinking. Trust in what I'm going to show you." And here I am today.
So what plans does Miss Pearl Campbell-Brown have now that you have your bachelor's degree and your master's degree? What is it that you're planning next? Or is it something where we're just going to have to wait and see?
This is the two things that God has placed in my spirit.
Oh, wow. Well, I cannot wait to see what God has in store for you. And thank you so much for being our special guest for the secret sauce for the saints.
God bless. Love you all.